Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Civivi Banneret. I thought for sure that it would be pronounced Banneret, but I'm not very good at pronunciation, so Google told me that it was Banneret, so there you go. Thanks so much to Civivi / we for sending this in for me to take a look at. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. This knife is currently available, so I will make sure that it is linked right down below in the description. It does help my channel when you use my links, but that is entirely up to you. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this guy. Overall length is coming in at 7.85 inches. Blade length is coming in at, that's kind of surprising. It's about 3.4 inches. Cutting edge also coming in at about 3.4 inches. Nice ratios there. Let's go ahead and do just a few size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat Model 2. You can see here that this is kind of, it's closer to the, I don't know. Is it right in between? I'd say it's closer to the size of the Rat 1. How about up against the, whoops, Benchmade Bug Out? There we go. Let's put it up against the Demco 80-20.5. There we go. And let's do one more, the Spyderco Para 3. All right, how's the action on this guy? This is a Civivi knife, and Civivi has always done, a pretty good job in the quality and action department. It's good. It's exactly what you'd expect. Surprisingly, you can get pretty good leverage off this really low profile flipper tab, and the detent feels good, right? Fairly easy disengagement. I kind of wish that this was cut out a little bit to get in there, but there's not really a whole lot to complain about here. When it drops, it will drop down to your finger, dropping it to the side of the flipper tab. There's just not a lot of room from here to like turn. It's just kind of a little bit awkward. So what I've been doing is moving this over, going here, and then coming down so I don't drop the blade right down onto the side of my thumb. All right. So, but truthfully, it's fine. It's nothing spectacular. It's exactly what you'd expect. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. We are coming in just a hair thinner. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. Can see here that this is going to be a pretty easy object to carry. It is shorter than the Para 3 and way shorter than the PM2. It's also nowhere near as tall this way. Materials, what are we looking at? We are looking at a steel, it's like a faux bolster, right? Because this is all the frame, and we have a sub frame lock, a steel sub frame lock, and then we have micarta on this version. There's a few different versions of this knife. You can use the link down below to check and see. And then the blade steel, I believe, you can see right there. Can we see it? Nitro V. There it is coming in. So let's go ahead and weigh it. About 3.4 inches of blade. So for perfect ratios, we're looking at 3.4 ounces of weight or less. We're coming in at 3.92, which is fine. It's it's almost 4 ounces, but that's not really that big of a deal. The carry profile will make this a lot easier to carry. 4 ounces is not that much weight, especially if you're somebody who carries a cell phone. Your cell phone probably weighs more than that. So yeah, not perfect ratios, but it's fine. Balance on this guy, it's a little bit more towards the butt, not quite up to where the pivot is, but it's just, it's really not something that's going to bother most people. Let's go ahead and get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. The pivot is a T8. The body screw holding in the micarta overlay, that's a T8. And then underneath these screws are hidden underneath here. My guess is that they are T6, which is fine. It's not that big of a deal. There's just one extra screw on each side over what I normally consider to be minimal, and then you have T6 screws for the pocket clip. This is pretty simple construction. As long as you have a good place to put your hardware and you have quality tools, you should be good to go. No big deal there. Let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness. My guess is that this is about 115 thousandths. Yeah, it says 117 thousandths. That's pretty standard for Civivi. All right, let's go ahead and talk about this knife. Real simple, not taking any risks here. They've done a little bit extra doing the steel bolster thing, right? Civivi seems to be, they're not doing the same kind of thing that like Bestech and Concept and Kubi and all these. Those companies make a lot of different wild and crazy designs, and some of them land and some of them don't, right? Civivi likes to make really straightforward, practical, minimalist aesthetic cutting tools. And they do a good job with that, right? I don't want to complain too much about that because there are lots of people who like this stuff. They like these slight variations. They still want a good cutting tool. And this is, right? They handle nothing in the way of, it's not, there are no ergonomic lines whatsoever. It's just a consistent line on either side. So holding it is fine. It doesn't feel like it was, made specifically for the human hand. Just it's made for whatever is grabbing it to kind of hang on to it. You're going to feel the clip a little bit because they're still doing the goosebill thing, and that's right in the middle of your hand. Right? The edges are nicely knocked down though, so it's not like you're gripping something sharp, and there's plenty of room on the handle, right? Even if you are jammed up against that flipper tab there, if your hands are a little bigger than mine, you'll be okay. Nice jimping up here, right? Nothing spectacular, just sort of par for the course for Civivi and kind of this whatever ergonomics, right? You can hang on to it. There's nothing that's specifically locking you in, right? So, but it's not like it's the slipperiest knife in the world or it's difficult to hang on to. There's just plenty of room. There's enough room to get a full 4-finger grip on this guy. The blade, we have a nice simple drop point with a little swedge up here. It's otherwise fully flat ground and has a nice thin cutting edge that's been sharpened very well. I like Nitro V. My minimal experience with it is that it's a good steel. It's fairly well balanced, right? I think most people are going to have a good time with it. This will be an easy knife to sharpen. And, the geometry of the blade alone is going to make most of the cutting tasks that you would expect this knife to be able to perform pretty easy. It's got enough of a tip that puncturing's not going to be a problem either. Kind of like that it comes down like it curves to the point, at the same rate on either side, right? Like you could not do the swedge and put a fuller down the middle and it would look like a dagger ground blade. Yeah, I mean, it's not a grind that we haven't seen before. It's just slightly different than many other Civivi knives that we've seen. So, okay. This is the black-washed version. I am almost certain they do a tumbled or a satin version as well. I think it's worth pointing out that all, DLC will bring the range down for Rockwell hardness by 1 point. Civivi is a little bit low. Civivi and we are a little bit low with steels like D2 and M390. Nitro V, I got to be honest with you, I don't know the appropriate range, but if you're going to go with a blackwash version, whatever their range is, it seems like they are 1 point lower with DLC, which is the truth with any blade steel that's going to be, DLC. It brings it down a little bit. So just be aware of that. Let's see here. We've got these holes here in the micarta, which I don't know. I mean, if they weren't there, this would be, I'm going to be real with you. This is a pretty boring design, right? I mean, I've reviewed dozens of knives that are extremely similar. Without these holes, it would be even more boring. But some people are going to look at this and go, I hate the holes. I think it would look perfect without it, right? So it's really just preference. You could call this slight weight reduction because the holes go all the way through the steel. So, I mean, that might be helping a little bit. I'm not sure that I can really say that the holes add anything when it comes to traction. Maybe if your fingers are right on them a little bit. They're fine. They're done well. Not really much to complain about here. There's a mounting position for left-handed carry, which is fine. This is a right-handed sub-frame lock, but it is plenty easy to manipulate with your left hand. So lefties shouldn't have a problem there. You have a little lanyard barrel, which is fine if you want to add a lanyard to it. Deep carry pocket clip. Screws are recessed, but not the clip. No problem there. We have garage stops, meaning the stops are attached to the blade, but they are sunk below the frame and actually go totally behind these walls on either side and disappear, which is kind of cool. Just aesthetically, and also, with the stops being attached to the blade, you get one additional point of contact versus the traditional stop pin where it's just the tang contacting the pin, just 1 point of contact there. You get 2 pins contacting either side of the frame, which is nice. It allows you to get a nice solid lockup and tune the action to get it nice and smooth. So very good. No blade play up, down, left, or right. No lock stick. No pivot lash. Consistent in here, and nice click into the closed position. Perfectly centered blade. This is kind of meh from Civivi. It's all right. The steel bolster gives it a little extra. The holes give it a little extra. It's otherwise very similar to other things in their line. I got one problem with it. It's like $90. I think this is way over. Yeah, Nitro V, right? But what else? I mean, like, Civivi's got great quality, right? But they have plenty of knives that are built like exactly the same way as this, and they're like $65. This is another one. They've done this a couple of times now. This is another one where the price makes very little sense to me. If you like this, if you look at that price tag and you go, hey, no problem, I like how that looks and I don't mind the price, you're probably going to be really happy with this, right? Because it's otherwise nice in terms of just overall execution and manufacturing quality. It's fine. But versus the general competition out there, I just think this is way too high. $65 is where I would put this. So you could say, well, it's only, $25 higher than where you would put it. That's not that big of a deal. I don't know, by percentage, right? People generally shopping in this territory, $25 up is quite a bit. I don't know. This one, I was really shocked. I looked at it, I was like, oh, cool. It's nice, whatever. It'll make a nice budget knife. But it's not. It's not what I consider a budget knife at all. On this channel, it's $75 or less, and this is way over that line. So, yeah, dang. Just not, I mean, it's fine. It's just that there's nothing here that makes me think, oh, wow, here's a reason to buy this. This knife is bringing absolutely nothing special to the table, but at base, it is a finely made knife that just has a price tag that's too high. That is honestly what I think about it, and this is just extremely forgettable, right? And I'm not trying to be mean. Civivi has a lot of really great stuff in their lineup, but look, you don't even have to look at Civivi's competition. You can if you want to, but if you want a better knife, just look at 40 or so other knives that Civivi currently makes that are priced better, So this is weird. I don't understand. That's about it. This knife will undoubtedly get given away during one of my live streams, and I'm sure that whoever wins it will be happy to win a nice free knife, but it's not for me. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.